How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
It's weird seeing my face on that. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how you go?
I'm Alex.
Alex, everybody.
Come on.
Hello.
Hey, man.
There's a lot more people in here.
Yeah, well, you brought a good crew as well. We have a good crew. It's a nice little festive kind of holiday vibe going on in this room, right?
I know. I love the sweater.
Thanks, man. You look good as well.
Thank you so much. I just rushed over here. I've been in traffic for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You didn't do it.
True, but appreciate the effort you coming in, man. I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if you got to the end of the kind of 18 months that you've had, just specifically on the music, and just decided to take stock and just decided to take a step back and sort of reflect and just think about that. I know you're a reflective guy.
Oh, yeah.
I can hear it in your music.
Oh, thank you.
But you've come in to talk to us. And so, the first question for me to you is, how do you feel at the end of 2025, Alex?
I feel really cool. You're right. I am a reflective guy. I haven't had time to reflect yet. And I'm really scared but excited to, I think. I think the last 8 months of my life, or like you said, 18 months, have been nonstop go, go, go. And I'm excited to have a moment with my wife and my dogs and hang out.
Yeah. You said you were scared to, and that's totally normal and natural. And I've heard that from artists who have been in the kind of, tumble dry that you've been in, where all your dreams come true at once.
Yeah.
Where does that word sort of scared come into play for you? What would kind of be fearful for you when you actually think about what you've achieved in the last 18 months?
This is so nice because you've talked to probably everyone and anyone in this situation ever. I think it's scary because it's everything I've ever wanted. And growing up the way I did, everything I've ever wanted has been ripped away from you in different ways. And so it's kind of a scary thing that I think that once I sit down and I appreciate, or I get, the word is comfortable, but I don't think that's the right thing. I think if I just sit down and really...
Faith, maybe? Have faith it's going to be okay?
Maybe. I think just in general, just look back and be like, wow, I did it. It tends to be a lot of times that those things leave. So it's scary.
Yeah, and also did what, right? At the end of the day, like, you're doing it. And I think, we set goals for ourselves as people because they seem so out of reach. But when you actually start to taste it, you realize that it's the tasting is the most important thing. It's not actually the achievement. It's the kind of getting to do it.
Yeah, 100%. It's weird kind of looking at it because I was a fan first, watching people play and hearing the music, and then kind of being in this seat now. It's strange, but also really cool to kind of have that, like, it's almost like a different helmet in a way. You kind of look at it in a different perspective, especially being a fan first and then going into this exact situation, like being a fan and wanting to feel loved and feel that attention, and then becoming the artist, you kind of realize what it's like to be on the other side of it. And so it's been really cool trying to navigate but balance that as well.
I'd like to talk to Alex the fan for a while.
Hit me with it.
Because people got to know you as the entertainer, the person who made them laugh or made them sing things or do things. You use the internet, like many of your generation, in a really clever way.
Yeah.
You realized it was a tool that was in your hands and you could make something with it. But before that, you discovered music, and you discovered music that moved you and set you on this path. So what was the music that moved you as a kid?
So funny. I've had a really rocky relationship with music, funny enough. Growing up, my dad knew he was dying, and so he wanted to speed run all those moments with his kids, and he loved Rascal Flatts and Coldplay and all these different, I feel like Train, it was just all these different
big songs.
Yeah. His biggest thing is he knew he was dying, and so he gravitated towards music that would give us a sense of light at the end of it. And so this song that stuck with me a long time was My Wish by Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
And it was a song we used when he passed away. And it's just, my life with music has been all those old remembrances. And then once he died, music kind of disappeared. My mom wasn't very musically inclined in any sense.
And was it hard for you to listen to music in the same way, knowing that it had been such an important part of the connection between you and your dad?
I didn't pick up a guitar for a long time. I also didn't understand it. I just knew that what my life and music, or my dad and music, were synonymous for me. I listened to music in the car with my dad.
Yeah.
And when I didn't have my dad driving me, it was silence.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange thing looking back at it. You don't really think about. So I didn't pick it back up until I started grieving and understanding what that feeling was. And that was a huge moment for music for me. And so you listen to my songs and you kind of wonder what those influences are. And a lot of times it's just the music I grew up listening to.
Very honest writing too. I can hear it
Thank
in
you.
you. I mean, it really, it's definitely a process for you. And it may entertain others, but I really do hear it in your words. I mean, I think about First Time on Earth. I think about a song like that. I mean, that is literally, that as a listener, what I take from that is a form of like you making peace.
Yeah, my mom and I.
Yeah,
my mom and I never had closure.
Yeah.
She was suffering an addict. She was an addict her entire life, but I cut her off. I did the one thing that every single person who dreads with an addict in their life, and I cut her off. And I had a moment of realization that it was my mom's first time on earth, and I can't imagine the situation she had in raising us and all these different things alone. And in 2008, 2009, when a recession happened and couldn't afford the lifestyle that my dad had built for us, and I had texted her trying to remediate that and trying to become close with my mom again. And I texted her, and she had passed away at that moment.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's weird. It's such a strange thing, grief and loss and all those different things. And so you mentioned First Time on Earth. I cry in almost all of my sessions. I write with the same people. I have a connection and a bond with these guys, and they're very open. They're very honest. They allow me to fully kind of like feel these things. I forget these things. I push these away. And when I come to write songs, I fully just allow it to happen. And I love my music. I listen to it all the time, and I cry all the time. I don't do therapy. I write songs and I listen to them.
It's for you, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think that we're getting this round the wrong way with music, especially right now. We think that it's a destination for others, some kind of achievement to just create really quickly, especially the way things are going. And I think people are ignoring the fact that art gets made because people need to say something and find something out about themselves.
I think that's why criticism is so difficult for me. I think a lot of times, especially with the success of Ordinary.
Newsflash, Alex, it's not good for anybody. No one likes it.
Yeah, but no, I think the success of Ordinary especially put it on this thing where like people, obviously that one song was written for my wife, and so that everyone kind of goes, and critiques every single thing. And I think art is obviously supposed to be critiqued. I think it's difficult because they're not like pitch songs. They're not records I'm writing trying to make TikTok viral. They're songs that I wrote in my bedroom most of the time with my friends, trying to get over the loss of my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so it's such a strange thing of being okay with it, because obviously it's art. I'm putting it out in the world for people to judge. I think it's just, every time I see someone say my name on a TikTok thing, I swipe immediately.
No, it's smart too, because at the end of the day, mate, I mean, that's the internet will have its way.
Yeah.
And we only get to exposed to so much on a daily basis because we've become very adept at being able to take what we can when we can and move on with what we need to do. Mm-hmm. And so it's very easy for someone like me to not really get too familiar with your music initially because of where you came from and what people are saying. And then I go, hang on, no, that's not my job. My job and what I love to do is listen to music. I'll go and listen to the songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, that's not what that is. This guy's a real writer. He's writing about his life. Like, it's honest, it's truthful.
Yeah.
People are responding to the truth. They're not responding to your point. It's not like you jumped from TikTok to music. People have tried that. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
You write songs.
I've tried really hard to. I think there's obviously, because I technically did transition from that profession before. I have been writing music my entire life. Yeah. But I think because that was no one really saw that side of me, I definitely had to give it a certain sense of light in that sense. Like I went and did music theory lessons for a long time. I didn't grow up listening to a lot of music because of that relationship with my dad. And so I really try my best to kind of expose myself to music I wouldn't normally listen to or haven't. I have really amazing friends. One of them, is Gigi Perez. Yeah. Coolest person in the world, but she knows my inept ability to listen to music. She'll reference things, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. And I feel like it's the biggest imposter syndrome in the world. Is I truly want to know all these things, and people always talk about these influences on stuff, and I obviously want to get better as a musician. And so she makes me a playlist, and it's the coolest thing ever. And she puts like these really cool names on that I'm just now listening to for the first time. And it's something weird, like trying to kind of like be like, oh wow, I need to listen to this and see what I like from it, what I don't. And judge music instead of, I think, judge it in a way of like, oh, why do I like this and why don't I like this? Instead of before I would just like it and I didn't know why.
Well, also you've both been through at a very young age that very unique, experience of loss, of having to grieve, the loss of someone you care about. And I wonder whether that helps both of you sort of keep this whole internet chatter and all this nonsense in perspective. Because at the end of the day, what does it really matter what people think of you?
No, 100%. She's the musician I think I've always wanted to be. And it's been really cool to like she's so cool. Like, I think that like Like she's one of those people where like, you'll see musicians and sometimes they may put on an act like they're some, musician who's mysterious and wants to know everything about these underground artists. And then I think Gigi's one of those people who lives it, where she's very much into this different alternative type of music. And she's kind of a nice sounding board for me where I can go like, please show me these things. I think every artist, when they aspire to be something, I think they're just doing a great emulation of Gigi Perez. I also just watching her work in a studio is the coolest thing ever. And I think like, anyone who ever gets the opportunity to do that is really cool. I mean, I've heard of all the stories where she's just she has such a brain for it, I think, and like the different alt melodies that she'll do. And
her melodic range is ridiculous. And also her ability to be able to she chameleonizes, is that a word? Is now chameleonizes her voice in a really great way where it doesn't detach itself from what you love about her, but I see her exploring range right now in a big way.
There's such an obvious melody you could follow in an opposing harm and everything that would go well with Eternity, and she didn't do that. She did the thing that makes Gigi Perez, and I think that's such a musical geniusness to it. And I also love how she produces her own stuff. She knows how to do all those things. She's very, watching a sound check. And with me, I was still getting used to in-ears at the time. And I was like, oh, well, this sounds this way. Can you do this? And she goes, he wants this. He wants this to sound like this. And she goes in and she goes, I want verb down 3. It's giving us
improv vibes.
Dude, she's like telling them what frequency to compress her vocal at or like to take out. And I'm like, this is insane. Like you are... You know what you're doing, and I truly, it's really sick.
She reminds me of Buckley, who you may not be familiar with, which is why I need to send you a playlist.
Please, I need it.
But Jeff Buckley, she reminds me a bit of Jeff Buckley.
Okay.
Just you know
Jeff Buckley.
Okay, thank God for that.
No, but I think it's also cool being in and I have to say I've been a fan of your show, of just like especially seeing clips, and it's so cool because watching as a consumer and not really, it's kind of like, oh wow, you can get that out of an artist, the way you speak and the way you communicate. But and I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna come in and then you do it, and I'm like, wow, you can't even think, you just tell them how you feel, and there's no filter.
I just go where I'm invited, man. And,
I love it.
I can tell you're a really open human being, and
I try.
The thing I really like, it's a strange thing to like. So I'll say one of the things I admire about you is that you've clearly done the work and you found a way for it to work for you. And what you've been through, the loss of 2 parents, and there's a connection there. You know that they loved each other. They had children. You had a family, and for one reason or another, you lost one parent, then you lost another parent. That's really tough. And when you talk about grief, the importance of grief, man, it's such a powerful tool if you know where it is and how and when to use it in order to move forward with your life.
It's also something no one talks about. I think everyone skims over grief, and it's one thing is no one wants to bring a room down, no one wants to talk about it, everyone wants to get over it. I mean, my entire childhood, I wanted to just forget about it, hence why I forget so many things about myself as a child. And I remember the one thing is there was never any music that I could relate to in that sense of when I played piano or when I listened to music, I was singing about something I cared about. It was never about, a random, I couldn't relate to like the rap songs. I couldn't relate to a lot of things, but I could relate to ballads. I could relate to someone singing about loss. And I would always make a breakup song about, like, I would sing it in the way of losing my dad. And so when I went to write music and kind of be that songwriter for the first time in my life, I wanted to fill that hole that I felt there was. And so it's been, I mean, the first few songs were absolutely terrible. And I was using the basic 4 chords, capo on 3, and just ripping off Shawn Mendes' Stitches chords for the longest time. And once you figure it out, which is so funny to think about. But yeah, once you figure it out and kind of get in the groove, it's been really cool to kind of understand what goes into making a song, but also how you feel from that.
Yeah, well, you have the right team around you. I feel that you also found a sound that really works for your storytelling as well.
I love them so much.
I feel like they really nurture your writing. There's a lot of times when you listen to music and you're like, okay, the production and the song are competing for attention, and a great artist can helm both, right? Can have one foot in both rooms. But for you, I feel like the music is really just there to bring us in to the emotion and the feeling you're trying to create.
It's been so cool being able to work with them as well, because I did the whole speed dating thing for a long time. As you probably know, when you work with artists, you get put in studios.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's nice because with them, I don't have to try to be this cool musician. I can say the stupidest, like we always go dare to suck, and we always just say it, and we say a really terrible idea. And it's nice to know that, like, in a team project, it is not all just one person. Like none of these songs would be anything without them. Truly, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not trying to be some cool whatever.
No,
Truly, like it's really cool where like with Ordinary and all these different records, how they came to be and how many accidents had to happen for them to come to fruition. I mean, like Ordinary alone, like the opening verses, they say the holy water's watered down is because we were trying to make a coffee machine work at a Airbnb that we were working in, and it was watered down, and so we just put that in as a joke. Or Return Me to Dust is because we all got dust poisoning from this one studio. And so like it's just been a thing of just everyone throwing in jokes and terrible ideas, and then we come up with this product that we love so much.
But you're still an adult, a man of faith, and I love, it's interesting to me how you're able to connect the two. You're able to take a look at your surroundings and the things that may just seem very colloquial to you and your friends and make you giggle a little bit, but it always brings you back to God to some degree. There's a filter there that you can't escape, right?
Well, like music and like
not that you want to, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, with music and faith, it's always just been a battle my entire life, and I think with me, especially losing my parents.
Why music and faith?
When you watch your parents pass away in front of you, I think anyone in their right mind would go, well, if God existed, why would he do that to me?
Fair.
And I think my entire life I battled with that. And as time has gone on, and this may just be my own thinking, and maybe it's my way of being okay with the things that have happened to me, I have really just realized that the things that I've gone through have been able to put me in a position where I can be what I needed when I was a kid. I'm meeting all these people, playing these shows and being able to write these songs. I've been able to see the real life impact of it. And that's been the most important thing to me, is being able to understand. I went through all these feelings. I had no idea what it was like to grieve or what I was supposed to feel like. There's no book about it. But the one thing is everyone tells you that it gets better, or you move on from it. And the one thing I learned is you don't. You will always be missing that part of you. And so writing these songs and being able to tell my story, I've watched it firsthand give other people a sense of sanctity in that way. And I think that's what I was meant to do. I was supposed to be put on this earth to do. And that's been my relationship with faith, is just being able to understand that the things that I've gone through and the things that I've endured and the positions I've been put in is why I'm here today and what I'm supposed to do. And it's a weird, rocky relationship, as I had to lose the two most important people in my life to achieve the thing that I've always wanted.
Boy, what a ride. So fascinating. I'm so past this whole weird distinction between people using the internet and then discovering some part of that experience and then zeroing in on it and making it their life's work.
Right.
I don't play that game anymore. We all went through that in the beginning where it was like, oh yeah, sure, YouTubers making music, whatever.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. I think now it's very clear that young people realize the internet is their tool. Mm-hmm. It's an entrepreneurial tool.
Yeah.
You should use it. Finding an audience is a really positive and powerful thing to do for independence and autonomy, because no one can push you around when you've got fans that like you.
Yeah. And,
it's the order of things. So I want to applaud you and Addison and all the other people who have made that jump.
Love her.
Yeah. I mean, she did it the right way.
She's someone I think is inspiring. I've also told her this to her face too. I just think it's really cool. And we've had moments where we sat down and I've just been like, look at how crazy this was. Like we were both 19 years old when we started doing this social media thing, and the growth and personality development entirely, has been really cool. And I'm stoked that we're still close too.
Yeah, that's really nice, because it was a heady time, and I know the stuff that I'm a fan of Zach. I really like what Zach does, and I know you have a good relationship with him. And you guys had a pretty clear conversation about what that era was and where the division is and what you can't talk about. But with the benefit of distance and some hindsight, looking back on those years where it was just you and a bunch of young people trying to figure it out, what comes to mind? What comes to heart?
It's looking back, and I've had plenty of conversations about it. It's really cool. I think it's a weird situation to look at, and I don't think anyone understands that type of situation. And what we went through and also the positives of it is so sick. And we were all kids, that was our college.
Young.
That was our college years. And we spent it living in houses and making content and whatever you want to call it. And I think what's really cool is we've been able to maintain relationships since then. I check on them pretty regularly, and we all kind of, when we're in the same towns, we grab dinner, we go to each other's shows. I just think it's such a cool full circle moment. And 5 years ago, if you had asked me we'd be here today. It's pretty nuts.
Well, 10 years from now, maybe even sooner, the way that the world works, there's a fascinating story to be told, depending on where everyone goes in their life. And
I just think it's also just everyone's so like the humility of everything. I've walked into different rooms and been greeted in different ways, and it's been really cool to kind of talk to, especially Addison. Like that girl always has a smile on her face, and everything's very genuine. And when we were both nominated for a Grammy, I FaceTimed her, and it was such a cool moment of just like, we sat there for like probably 10 minutes and we're just like, what the it was so cool.
What
and it was, we all FaceTimed each other like somber. It was like a whole like hour-long group FaceTime thing that we would just, it's really cool. A lot of people on the internet love to like be like, no, it's this person and this person, and all of us are just
I think you're a really important generation for that. I really do, because you've broken down that boundary. I think compartmentalization worked it worked before the internet became such a useful and powerful tool for kids to actually make business.
Yeah.
It was a game before. Then it became like, no, this is actually a genuine tool. And I started to notice it sort of 10, 15 years ago when the SZAs and the Kendricks and the Tylers, and people like that were like Tyler and Odd Future. I mean, they started the whole thing because they were like, we can use this thing. Mm-hmm. And actually go out there and find our audience, and then who Tyler is today versus who he was back then, which has been a point of discussion recently. But I mean, he is just like, he was trying to get attention, being a kid, and now he's out there and he's selling out festivals. He's our Artist of the Year. He's basically a musical diplomat, in my opinion. He's incredible.
It's cool now because it's so accessible too. I think growing up, especially, you looked at the music industry as a scary, unknown place where everyone's controlling something. And now it's just anyone can post a video on the internet. Anyone.
Yeah.
You could be of any profession, of any nationality, of any, you could be rich, you could be poor, you could be this and that. You just post a video on the internet and singing, and something could happen, and it's this beautiful moment that I think it becomes super accessible to people who wouldn't have had it.
Is it fleeting? Is there a time when you start to land where you have been trying to get to, and things slow down a little bit, and you realize my relationship with that is changed? I don't need to be so active on that. Can you change the nature of your relationship with the internet now you no longer need it as much?
Yes. I was posting on it almost like my life depended on it, and I still do. I think it's now just been a moment where I that's such an interesting question. Oh my God. Yeah, because when I was homeless, but also even then coming out of that, I never wanted to go back to that. So I would just post obnoxiously. Like if you look at when Ordinary went up, we posted probably 75 to 100 times just to get that song going and to prove to the label that this was the right record to go with. I fought so hard for that dang song, and I'm so happy I did, because here we are.
Yeah.
But that is such a great question. I still view it as it's a life or death situation. I still post all the time, and that's something a lot of people probably look at and they're like, oh, well, it's a TikTok artist in some sense. And I think there's a value to it, and there's also a value of being able to not post everything. So I think it's just been like figuring out what I want to talk about. And now it's just moments where I just talk about my music and my amazing friends. And I literally will post on my story and just be like, if you don't love Gigi Perez, get out of here, or something like that. I'll just be like random after a conversation.
Well, life is a long time, and there were some pretty important life-changing things that I'm sure you're looking forward to along the way, which may kind of deviate your the amount of time you spend on there. Having kids will definitely, you'll be like, well,
I can't wait.
Post or like go play with my kids. I'm going to play with my kids. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to post right now.
I hear it. Yeah, I'm excited to have kids. I think my whole life I've been destined to be a father.
I think I can probably say this based on what I've read about you and heard you say in other interviews, that your wife kind of arrived kind of like an angel, right? She sort of came at the right time in your life and really sort of helped you at a time when you were probably looking for some direction and some faith in things.
Everyone in my life was fleeting, and that was something where I was sleeping in a car, and she was like, okay, let's do it. Dropped out of college, had $500 to her name, and just did it. Dude, it was really crazy. I living off that and having a partner and a companion through it. I was homeless for about a month before she had joined me. And, funny enough, I was only homeless for like another 2 months after that. And we posted a video together, and it was immediately, people liked it. I saw that as an opportunity to do what I love, which is funny because around that time, every night I would go find a 24-hour fitness or a shower of some sort and sing covers and post that on TikTok.
Yeah.
You like scroll all the way down. That's just me in like different public restrooms singing, trying to get a good acoustics and become a singer. And then I posted a video with my wife or girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and it blew up. And I thought that was my moment to get out.
Do you guys reflect on those times at all? Do you think back, do you try to create a timeline for yourselves, even just in moments of solitude and privacy where you're able to just acknowledge how far you've come given where you started?
We'll have moments. We were just fortunate enough to buy our own our own house. And
congrats.
Thank you. And we sat there in the driveway at night, and I just gotten off tour, and we're literally, I have my hand around her, and we're looking at the house, and I just look over, I go, what the? And she was like, dude, I know, I can't stop thinking about it. I was like, what the heck happened? Like the last 5 years have just been, and it was a very emotional. I get emotional thinking about it. And you played First Time on Earth, which was probably didn't put me in the best parts.
Yeah. No, I did think about it. I was like, but man, I was like, we're okay. We'll be okay.
No, it's the best. I think it's cool. I feel like you probably relate to this too. Is you don't really get a lot of time to reflect on your emotions in certain sense of that, and I think it's crazy. It's so strange.
I really try to now. I never used to.
Really?
And now I really try to reflect on that.
I want to get to that point. I really do.
I'm
just terrified.
Yeah, well, that's totally fair. And everyone's journey is different. And there's times when it's scary doing that. It's times when you go to places you don't want to go to and think about things that really make you emotional and stuff. But man, I make playlists for that shit.
Send them to me.
Yeah, you got it.
I need it. I need a good cry.
You good at math?
Am I good at math?
Yeah.
I would like to be. I dropped out of high school, but I'd like to think it's my strong suit. I'm good with patterns.
Should I give you some patterns?
Sure.
Top selling song released in 2025 in the United States by total units.
Oh, God.
Ordinary. 3 times platinum. Top Billboard's Hot 100 chart longer than any other song by a solo artist this year with 10 weeks. Broke the record as the longest running consecutive chart topping song by a solo artist in the US Top 40 at number 1 with 16 weeks, and broke the 70-year-old charting record previously held by Elvis Presley as the longest running top single in the UK.
Holy.
You know what, man?
That's nuts.
Drop one on
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's so weird to hear that too, because I try my best to kind of not be told those things. Just
smart.
Well, I don't know. I think it's one thing to like have that. I again, that song, I wrote it about coming out of homelessness and meeting my wife, and like that's the thing that mattered to me. And obviously this stuff is freaking awesome, but it's just been cool to like see I don't want to be disconnected too much from the song.
Fair enough, but you knew it was special because you said you posted a lot to get the label to understand the thinking behind it.
Yeah, we had written the song in December of last year, and so it's just crazy. It hasn't even been a year since we wrote it. So we wrote it December 13th. And when I had written it, we played it for the label, and I thought it was so special. And they had their eyes set on a different record, and I was like, "Trust me, this is the song." I even started sending it around to like radio people and stuff, being like, "This is the song," just kind of like being like cultivating it, and still nothing. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to post it on TikTok, make it viral, and you won't have any choice. And for the first 2 weeks it flopped. Absolutely no one cared about Ordinary. It was a mess, and I had posted 4 times a day to it, just trying everything, trends, everything I could, coming up with different ways to get people engaged with it. I would look at algorithms and look at when people dropped off and trying my best to just get this song. Because I knew it was special. I felt a special way, and I'm my biggest critic.
Yeah.
And then TikTok was getting banned. And so it was one day, right before TikTok got banned, I said, and this was the coolest thing is, my wife had been reading books, and a lot of my friends were getting into that Fourth Wing series and all those different books. And I said, Book Talk, find this song. And since TikTok's getting banned tomorrow, blew up, TikTok gets banned. And I go, well, that was it. That was a great try. Right when TikTok gets banned, my song finally does well. And TikTok comes back the next day. I'm on a plane. I post to it again, and it blows up. And I was like, whoa. And I kept going every day since then. So ever since TikTok was banned and came back, it did well after that one Book Talk thing. And I owe Ordinary success to them.
Yes, and also to an acute understanding about what it takes to modern market music. You didn't sit there and go, okay, I know it's special. I'll just let life take its path, and what will be, or I'm going to pivot to another song, or do any of those other things that many of us would do. But you stuck it out and you found a way. And I think one of the biggest criticisms that people have about releasing music these days when you're an artist is, how do I get my music in front of an audience?
Yeah.
You had an audience, but it still wasn't connecting. So what did it tell you about what really makes the connection between the song and the fan these days?
I would listen to that song and I just had a feeling. Again, I think it's such a cop-out, and I just know that like when so many people will post a video and it won't do well. They'll post a week and 7 videos and it won't do well, and 12 videos and it won't do well. And then the label will be like, oh, well, let's just pivot. Let's move on, because that's their investment. And the artist will feel like all of a sudden that their art doesn't matter. The artist will feel as if their music doesn't mean anything. The artist will feel as if they had failed in some way. And
a really important change happens too, if I can add, which is that, all of a sudden your instinct becomes their instinct.
100%. And it becomes this thing of like, I think for me at least, I will never really stop promoting a song. I will never pivot. I've never pivoted. I will never pivot. I think that if you truly believe in your song, and I listen to my own music. I feel like many artists don't admit that, even though they do.
It's true.
For me, I will sit in a car and I will listen to it every time. And if I listen to it 30 times, am I still into that? And I am, then it means I like it, and I like it enough to put it out. And if it's telling a story I want to tell. And so I think marketing in its own sense is its own art. It used to be not the burden on the artist. It used to be the burden on whoever was putting the record out and distributing it. Now the burden is on the artist. You as an artist now have to market the record, and it sucks. And some people can get away with it. Some people don't have to market it and whatnot. And I think for me, at least, in the way that I've been perceived on the internet and how I try to keep it extremely transparent with a lot of people and my fans and the people who listen to the music, I feel as if I need to be promoting the music. It wouldn't work if the label was promoting the music. I'm not a mysterious musician. I'm not this person who's going to sit here and tell you all these crazy, mysterious underground artists I listen to.
You probably wouldn't even be here if you were.
My point. And I just think it's a different type of person. And for me, I have to promote the music, and I love it. I like promoting the music. I like the challenge of trying to get people on board with a song that I truly love and they haven't heard. Think about that. You have to get someone on board with a 15-second snippet of a song.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
They aren't being, because when you listen to a song, it's a story. You listen from the beginning to the end, and you're taken into this world that isn't your own. And all of a sudden, you have to pretty much summarize it into 15 seconds, tell everyone what the story is. You're taking the art out of it in a certain sense. So
Very
I think
much so.
Creating another art around it. And that's with content creation itself. Whether you create a cool video or you try to get people to watch the whole thing and get them excited for the record, and all of a sudden it's like a trailer. It's the same thing as a movie trailer is a snippet on TikTok. And they always do highlight reels of the movie to get people enticed. And for me, I just do different videos with the song in the back to show you the energy it may have, or to show you the feeling it may provoke, or to give you an idea of what you might feel when you listen to that song. And if you can listen to a snippet 30 times, you're going to listen to the full thing.
It took me a while to get my head around it, and it was kind of a tough transition for me, being someone who played songs on the radio for a long time, and, videos on my MTV2 show, and felt like, we were able to give music a chance to tell its own story, and then it became like, nah, it's too competitive, and there's too much it became the attention currency as we know, and not so much the music currency, and the music had to fit into the attention currency. And by the way, that's about to get a whole lot more sticky and a whole lot weirder in the days and weeks, probably months as a stretch to come.
Yeah.
It's going to get intense. And my thing is always like, look, the tool's the tool. It doesn't matter whether you're sampling from an original record or you're taking a splice sample. It doesn't matter whether you're promoting it for 15 seconds on the internet or using the radio to do it for 3 minutes. It's still a tool. Where it gets tricky for me is when it no longer becomes a tool that's actively able to be used, and it just becomes a button that you press.
I also feel like this, I fully agree with you. I also think
I'm really worried that we're about to enter into probably one of the the greatest plagiarism exercise in the history of art.
I think it's terrifying. I've said this for a long time.
Sound like a boomer, but that's
no, but it's true. I think also like what I love about certain artists too, and what I like about art in itself is imperfect. Like when you go and watch a live show, that person is not singing fully on, even with auto-tune. Like they're not always singing perfectly on. Like, and that's the one thing that like, I feel like you get the emotion out of it. You could watch, so many people don't know pitch. They don't know all these different things. And so when they watch someone perform a live song,
that's greatness.
They're just thinking whether it sounds good to them and it invokes a reaction.
Level. Dude, I watched the Uber Eats ad for the NFL the other day when Bradley Cooper asked the player to not say cook it or put it in the oven, and he does it, and he puts a nuance on the end where he goes, don't say put it in the oven. And he does this thing with his face at the end of it that only Bradley Cooper can do.
Right.
And I rewound it and watched it just for that tiny little fraction of a facial thing that he does.
I love
that makes me go, I fucking love him as an actor because he made me watch an Uber Eats ad, and it was so fucking believable. I can't get that.
I wish I had an accent. Your passion just makes me envy how cool you sound right now. I feel like this is tropical in some sense.
Aggressively human, Alex, is the point.
And I worry about it too. I'm also like, I'm so confused by it. That's the one thing that I have no idea what goes into it and how it's made. And maybe that's my bad for sounding like a boomer as well. But like, are they just making a song and by pressing a button and putting a prompt saying, make this sound like this person in this way?
It's basically they've been mining and farming IP for a while now for all the existing music in the world. And it just exists now. And they're all doing deals to try to figure out how to.
That's horrifying.
At least to protect the copyright issues, because there's such a minefield of copyright issues. So, I mean, there's
going to have to be a lot of legal battles for that, I assume.
The horse is bolted. What they're now trying to figure out is how they can at least pay people. That's the very least they can do, right? But it's the horse.
Songwriters aren't getting messed up enough.
Exactly. And by the way, like we're part of an era where that is, I mean, I've come from a different era to this era. I'm chasing the music. I'm chasing the art. I'm going where the music and the fans are and the artist is. It's still complicated.
I also think it's more accessible than ever. Anyone and their mom and a kid could go on and post music now, which I think is also the thing that people couldn't do before.
Was beautiful.
Yeah, so it's such a crazy, and that's what this is what also goes into the AI thing, is like, it's such a strange thing where there isn't sets of rules because every single situation needs context. And it's like the craziest thing is now everyone has access. Everyone can post music.
I just want to know you. like, and I'm lucky I get to, right? I get to know you now.
Exactly.
Right? We can actually get to know each other from now on.
Yeah.
But there's millions of people who listen to your music that won't get to know the real you. And the closest they get is the music. But there's got to be a human, a person at the end of that experience.
I credit all of my success to my music, to the fact that there's a human behind it. And there's a story behind it. And that's, again, ordinary. I don't think would be half as big as it is if it didn't have that story of what we've gone through and everything.
I can feel it. People can feel it.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's exactly the same argument that if you just made a more like nifty and slick transition from TikTok into music, probably wouldn't feel it as much. It would have been like, hey, I'm really good at this. Let me do a version of that with music, with a whole bunch of writers and take my audience and try to just like transfer them into this space. It doesn't work.
It never does. Actually, I've never seen it work like that. I think especially, again, like you said before, Addison Rae is a perfect example.
She's a risk taker.
Of how that risk paid off so well.
She's a risk taker and she's a true artist, man. And that's why she's doing what she's doing. Bro, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for the next few weeks? Like, what are the holidays for you?
I'm doing a lot of jingle balls. I'm doing a lot of performances.
You jingle balling?
Yeah, I'm in a different state every day, which is exciting. I go to Houston tonight, and I'm running around. I'm coming back here a few times to do some performances and come out with some friends. And dude, this is the fun part of my job, though. Like, this is like when touring is excruciating, and it's also so fun and rewarding.
What's the excruciating part for you?
I think the excruciating part is I left for 8 months this year, and I was home for like 8 weeks or something like that, six to 8 weeks.
But you travel with your wife, right?
Yes, but it's interesting is time still moves when you're gone. And so I came back and I lost a lot of friends. Like, I think I lost a lot of people in my life, and I think it was really easy for them to kind of write it off as where I went, and how things have gone, and it's been difficult.
They didn't come back. Some of those friends didn't come back.
I try. It's just
that ain't right. I mean, you should listen. What you're saying is totally right. Life goes on. Everyone thinks that you're moving all the time with touring, but you're not. Life is moving around you.
Yeah.
And your job is to provide everybody else with an event or an experience or an emotion or a moment. They can then go back to their life, and it's going to go on around you. And you got to go to the next city and give them the exact same Polaroid in a different way.
I had to set a lot of boundaries, and I had to kind of be like, well, this is what a friend means to me. And I think it was difficult for people to adapt. out, I think, of just like
good work though.
It was difficult. I think it was. I'm one of those people who are I'm a people pleaser. I'm a chronic people pleaser, and I get walked all over. And people always go, "How do you let that happen?" And I was like, "Well, it doesn't matter because they're my friends." And I think I hit a point where I was like, you know what, like I think I want to go on a date with my wife and not have anyone come.
I was
crazy boundary to set. It's nuts. Hey, like you can't like sleep on my couch every day.
The beautiful thing about getting married is it's one of the great boundary sets. Because now you get to be just like the boss won't have it.
Yeah, I love that. No, but it's just been a thing for me. Where just like I'm starting to become an adult. I'm 25 years old, which should have become an adult a long time ago. But I think with my profession, it's obviously youth is a huge important aspect of it.
Alex, by the way, at the risk of sounding overly familiar, given we've just met, what you've been through in your life, and the work you've done to get to a point where you're able to succinctly communicate what has happened, how it makes you feel, and what your hopes are for the future in your music is life's work. That is life's work.
It's crazy.
You're 25.
Yeah.
So I'm only saying that not because you asked for it, but cut yourself some adult slack here.
Thank you. Yeah, I was always shifted by everyone else's opinions. I did what everyone else asked me to do or wanted me to do. And when Ordinary came out and I started touring all the time, I realized that the only person I really had all the time was obviously my wife, but myself. So I started to think what I wanted. And that was the first time in my life where I was like, hey, what do I want? What do I want to do? What do I want to see? Who do I want to be? And tour and this newfound ability for me to have confidence in myself and my newfound ability to say no was so important for me to be able to do. And here we are. And I'm really stoked with who I am now, which it took me a while.
Well, you still got some no's to figure out, bro, because you made it here. So you still figure out you got a heart in your no. Can Alex come in? He said no. Good for him.
Oh,
he finally
I would never.
Out.
No, I love stuff like this.
Good for him. I'm proud of him. Man, I've had a really good time talking with you.
Me too. I think there's some important conversations to have, and I think what you do is really important on that aspect as well, because I feel like artists especially don't really talk as much.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm here as long as artists want to talk, man, and they make music as honest and meaningful as yours is to people. Have a great time jingle balling around the country. Enjoy that Christmas and that holiday season you're going to get this year, because boy, I'm telling you, turkey's on you. Whoever you're having around for lunch, they saw the stats too, boy. Turkey's on you. Just FYI, turkey's on you.
It's that ordinary turkey.
It's an ordinary turkey. An extraordinary turkey for an extraordinary year made by an ordinary song.
There you go.
All right, brother. It's good to see you.
Thanks you so much. Thanks for having me.
Alex Warren, everybody.